we'll talk about the new boys who've just got promoted in just a jiffy, because look, they're going to come into the conversation. They have to. We don't like it being that way, but that is just the case for Derby, Pompey, and Oxford. Sam, my other two I'm concerned about. One is Plymouth Argyle, that have been beautifully run, and we've praised them week after week after week, but a bit chaotic last season. Ian Foster went wrong, didn't it? And then loan players going out in January. And if you ever wanted to hire a manager that will get negative talk, in comes Wayne Rooney. The other one as well, Sam, owners relegate clubs. I'm worried about Blackburn. And obviously I'll put you on the spot with your good mate Eusty in charge there. He's very pragmatic, very good at setting up teams not to lose, and, you know, clever football manager. But Sam, you can have Alex Ferguson, Brian Clough in the dugout. If you sell all your best players and your owners aren't, you know, kind of pitching up and their money's stuck in India, you're in trouble. Talk to me about Blackburn and Plymouth and the likelihood of them getting sucked into the bottom three.
Yeah, like, you know, a lot I say today, a lot could probably hinge on what happens in the remaining weeks. Obviously, Smodix is still there as I speak, but there's an opportunity, a good chance that he could move on before the start of the season. And I don't know if they've gone as such to plan for that eventuality, but, you know, I noted the couple of players they've brought in from different leagues. I think of an age where you're going to expect them to feature. Gay from Belgium and Hashi from Japan. I think they're the two kind of attack-minded players that spring to mind, with Vyman as well. Vyman's 32 years of age now. Danny Batt as well coming in. So they've gone for some experience. I think players that are probably ready-made to come in and have an effect. And, you know, with Smodix moving on and Gallagher to Stoke, that was quite an interesting move, I thought. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they line up. I wouldn't be overly worried about, I take your point, obviously, about off-field matters. As we sit here today, despite bumping into one of Argyle's players on the beach in Cornwall last week, he can remain on.
Can you give us his initials?
He can remain anonymous now until he scores a couple, and then I'll say that I scored. I gave him the motivation. So yeah, I would be a little bit concerned about him, and I absolutely don't want to be sitting here rubbishing Wayne Rooney, because I think I said when the appointment was made, yeah, it's a risk given what happened at Birmingham, but I really like Wayne Rooney. I have huge admiration for him as a player. I think you can't not admire the route that he's taking. Anyone that saw the recent overlap thing with Gary Neville would know that he doesn't need any dough anymore. That's for sure. You know, he's achieved so much, an incredibly wealthy person. But I think he speaks brilliantly about the game. I think, you know, latterly doing his punditry, he's got a real clever eye. And yeah, I'm really fascinated to see how they go. I'm just worried about their squad. And I know there's continuity in terms of the staff there at Argyle. And I know there's the potential of maybe Whittaker moving on. And I think at the back end of last season, under the interim managers, coaches, I thought so much hinged on the shoulders of Ryan Hardy and Whittaker.
Sam, isn't there an argument, sorry to interrupt, that Whittaker leaving might actually be good because they get a nice chunky transfer fee for him, and then Rooney can actually start to build his own team? And I think Whittaker's brilliant, by the way.
Yeah. But you've got someone now who probably guarantees you a return, and then you're going into the unknown. And you've got to get those signings right. You've got someone who's settled, who probably likes being the top man there at a, you know, really well-supported club. But he feels comfortable, and he probably feels that he can go out and dictate games and score goals freely like he was doing last season. So I really want it to work, but given the way that they had to absolutely scramble last season to survive, I think it's going to be something similar this season. At the moment, I've got them in there, that bottom three. It could very well change. I hope it does, because like I said, I'm a big fan of his. I think he gets a raw deal, Wayne Rooney. But I didn't want to have the three, in my thoughts. I didn't want to go into today's conversation and probably where we are right now in terms of squad building and stuff like that. I didn't want to kind of subject all three promoted sides to a relegation just yet. So I think Plymouth would probably get in that bottom three for me at the moment.
So what about these new promoted sides? Oxford from 5th position, and let me get my numbers right here. Sheffield Wednesday won the playoffs with 96. Oxford won it with 77 points. They snuck in there at the end with Des Buckingham, didn't they? Derby have got lots of kind of credibility as a championship club, but it's just a different club than the one that went down, isn't it? New owners, new managers, Paul Warne, the League One specialist, bringing them back. Pompey, great to see them back. Great to have Fratton Park and a South Coast club with Southampton having been promoted. Are you massively convinced by the three squads? As no one's really come up and gone, right, we really mean business in the window here. They've tried to be cute and clever, as Graham Souness would say, but you'd have to worry they'd be in and around it, and you don't really see a massive momentum, Sunderland finishing in 6th or Ipswich coming right through and finishing in 2nd, do you?
No, absolutely with you on that. Again, it could change, but I think right now I'd be most excited if I was you'd be excited anyway, an Oxford United fan, because you've been away for so long. But I think their signings are really eye-catching. So much so that they were nearly, I would say, going to be a surprise package for me today. We're going to talk about that in a bit, but in what they could maybe achieve, I still think it's going to be an absolute colossal battle for them to stay in the division. But I think the blend of youth and experience that they've gone for, especially some of the young players, is really exciting. If I'm an Oxford fan, the likes of Kyozo, Curry, Ebiowe, I think has been, showing that he is a very, very talented young player. I think he was maybe on Chelsea's books. I certainly saw him in a game for Derby against Chelsea when he'd gone there subsequently, getting a hat-trick. And when I've seen him get minutes in first-team football, really exciting. So, yeah, I'm probably most intrigued about how they're going to look and excited about their signings. It's been a lot quieter at Portsmouth. That's for sure. They've obviously been dealt this huge blow. Poor Colby Bishop, obviously, I think he's going to be missing until the new year minimum. That Alex Robertson transfer saga kind of rumbles on. I think there's a few other clubs in for him from Manchester City. He would be a really good get. And, I don't think the performances latterly have been brilliant for Pompey, which is a bit of a concern going into the new season. So they absolutely need to do business. We know how, powerful that fan base can be, how pivotal the home form is probably going to be.
Were you in an EFL when Danny Cowley came in?
Yes, I was. Yeah. I've worked with him and Nicky. Yeah.
Yeah, and he said they're very loud but very demanding as well, the Pompey fan base.
Yeah, they will be. Yeah, it's like Argyle, really. They're going to be a great addition. Away supporters will love going there. Away players will love going there, despite it actually being, I think it's a hard place to go and play because it's still old-fashioned to a degree. The dressing room.
Wild and windy as well.
The dressing room, in a little tunnel. Yeah, it's old-fashioned, but they make a hell of a noise. One of the best grounds I've played at in terms of atmosphere, unquestionably. So, at the moment, it's looking difficult for Portsmouth, would be my sentiment sitting here today. But again, that can change. Derby, I think, above, obviously, there's Buckingham at Oxford and John Messina at Portsmouth. There isn't that unity, I suppose, at Derby. I hope I'm not speaking like out of turn, but I think there are people that think Paul Warne's not going to be the man long term. Obviously, he's a serial League One promotion winner, and that was what the appointment and decision was built on, wasn't it? When Liam Rosenior was let go and Paul Warne came in with that on his CV, and he's achieved that. Yes, at the second time of asking, but I think there are question marks within the fans. There always is, but I think there's a loud kind of portion that made me think that Paul Warne's style of play is not going to be the one to take Derby forward in the Championship.
Has he not got
and get
better
success.
players and a bigger club and a bigger budget and more expectations now? Surely this is his best chance to do it, isn't it? If he's ever going to do it in the Championship.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I've worked with him. Brilliant geezer.
He's a one-off, isn't he?
Yeah, no, brilliant fella. Spoke to him, last season at a game. Brilliant fella. And I hope that it translates this year, because that year they he got Rotherham up, when they were really dwindling, kind of springtime. And it coincided with him doing that podcast series, and you could tell the pressure was really ramping up. There were people questioning his job then at Rotherham as he went for promotion, and he showed his steeliness to get them over the line. So, he's been punching above his weight with Rotherham, and he's proved too problematic previously. So absolutely his best chance. What I wanted to say was just the signings, say to me that it's going to be a struggle, bringing in Jerry Yates, who, he'd have a point to prove, actually, Jerry Yates, after not really settling at Swansea. Caden Jackson, another one. David Ozo looks like a talented young player from Crystal Palace. But I think these are players that, they're not going to do what, teams have done previously and come up from League One and consolidate. I think this is going to be a real battle to stay in the division. And I'd probably say, I don't know, I'd probably say Derby I fear for the most out of the three, which is not probably a sentence I thought I was going to be saying when I saw the three teams that were promoted.
Oh, he's still there, Sam. Yeah, I think he is. He just froze for a second. Just to round it out, I had Derby and Plymouth surviving, and Oxford, Blackburn and Pompey dropping. I hope I'm right about none of those, but it is an objective fact that 3 clubs will be relegated from the Championship this season. Have you got 3 names for me, Sam? And in the chat, get your 3 names in.
Mate, put me on the spot. I'll give you 6. Blackburn, Millwall, Derby, Argyle, Pompey and Oxford are the 3 that I've gone down. The 6 that I've got, I'll give you Derby, Argyle and Oxford.
There you go.
Today, ask me again in 2 weeks.
Exactly. Ask us again in 2 weeks. And again, we hope we are massively wrong about this.